Hi everybody, this is my second video. If you didn't catch the first one, it was basically just an introduction to what this channel is going to be about and about the background of my 11-year-old son who has ADHD, learning difficulties and dyslexia. So today I'm just going to go straight into it and I'll be telling you about ADHD itself, what it actually is and how it affects the brain, and support you need, and just a little strategy called the traffic light strategy, just to start you off with. It's very plain, very simple, but very effective. And then I'm going to finish off with a very good but very emotional poem. This is actually the second video that I've recorded, because the first one that I recorded for you, actually reading the poem made me cry, and that's not something that you want to see when you don't know me very well, is me crying. So I'm re-recording this again, so hopefully this time I don't cry. But firstly, yes, ADHD does exist, it is real, and it's a brain disorder and it's a lifelong condition. So anybody who says, oh, your child's just naughty, they're just ignorant. It can be managed and treated, but it cannot be cured. Okay, so ADHD is, I can't say this word, is a heterogeneous neurobiological condition which is characterised by core symptoms which are hyperactivity, impulsivity and inattention. So people with ADHD have difference in structure to people's brains who don't have ADHD. Okay, the frontal lobe is probably the most important in terms of ADHD. It acts as a supervisor in planning and organising tasks. Okay, the frontal lobe is your personality, it's your reasoning and it's your planning and it's your organising. Okay, so we'll go through the symptoms of what they actually are in depth. So your hyperactivity is probably the most well-known symptom of ADHD. So your hyperactivity is excessive in everything, so excessive talking, excessive running, climbing, fidgeting, inability to sit still, and we're all going, yeah, that's my child, and they're the annoying qualities of ADHD. Even though it's nice to hear your child talk, when it's a lot, it can be very tiring. Okay, your inattention is probably one of the hardest things to try and to control, because it causes things like forgetfulness. They lose things all the time. Okay, they don't listen, they're easily distracted, very disorganised. They don't listen, they don't follow instructions, and they find it very difficult to concentrate on tasks and activities. Okay, yeah, impulsivity, I think, is probably one of the most dangerous parts of ADHD, because one of the symptoms in that is things like you fail to consider consequences. So no danger, no nothing. Okay, one of the most annoying parts of that, I think, is interrupting others when they're talking. Now, we know all kids do that, and it's mum, no, excuse me, I'm talking. But with a child with ADHD or any learning difficulty, they have forgetfulness. Okay, so I find with my son, when I'm talking and I tell him to wait because I am talking, he gets very upset, he starts crying, very distressed, and that's because he's forgot what he's saying. The mind's going 1,000 times a minute, and They've got so much going on in the mind, so much they want to say, they need to get out, and it's like the mouth can't go as fast as the brain. So by the time I've told him to wait, he's forgot, and then that's when he gets upset and gets distressed. So it's really hard to find the difference between, you know, just being generally naughty and rude and not being able to help it. So I do find that a difficult part of managing a child with ADHD, because you don't want the ADHD to be, you know, just an excuse to be naughty. It's not, but it's still, you can't allow it to happen at the same time. You blurt out, you know, anything that comes into the mind, questions, answers, anything, just blurt it out, okay? And they find it difficult taking turns. They've got no sense of time, no sense of patience. So that's mainly like what ADHD is and the symptoms of it. Also today I've been in work, and then when I'm in work, when at the weekends, he goes to my mum, and support is a major thing in anybody looking after children, especially a child who has learning difficulties. If you haven't got support, then it's going to be a long, harder road than what it is already. I find the best thing to do with anybody who is in your child's life on a day-to-day basis, they need to understand your child's condition. They need to understand what your routine is, what your structure is, how you deal with different situations. So that the best thing I found was to invite my mum, because that's who looks after my son with me. I find that I invite my mum along to doctor's appointments, school appointments, meetings, courses. It's because it's so helpful to the person who's looking after your child with you. It's also important for your child as well. It saves any distress, and it's easier for you because you've got that extra help. If you're not on the same page as anybody, like I said, anybody who's in your child's life, family, friends, anyone who, you know, you will help you, then you need to start getting them involved in how to deal with, manage, cope, help your child. Because if they're not on the same page as you, and they're not having the same structure as your child has, or the same routine, or they're not dealing with the situation the same as you, then it is a recipe for disaster. So as long as everybody's on the same page, it should be very, very easy for everybody. So make sure you've got that support, and don't be afraid to ask people if they want to come along and learn about it with you, because the more the better. That's how I see it, to be fair. Also, the little strategy that I found was quite helpful, and it's one of the first things that the teacher would be a traffic light strategy. So it helps your child to stop, think and do. Now, most kids don't have a stop and think button, no red, no amber, but we all know they've definitely got a green button, which is go. The strategy will help with things like social skills. So encourage your child during the think stage to ask themselves things like, will this help? Or will this hurt me? Or will this hurt others? Because if they're thinking about the consequences, which we need them to get to think about, then we can help stop them doing things that, you know, could harm other people, could get them in trouble. Little simple things, anything like that would help. What else was there? So we've gone through our traffic lights, we've gone through support, which we all need. Also, as we're learning about our child's conditions, our child also needs to learn them as well, because they're not going to live with us forever. You know, they've got to go and have their own lives. get their own jobs, have their own families. They need to learn how to manage and cope themselves. So, after I'd done the ADHD parenting skills course, then you put your child's name, you do yours first, then you put your child's name down, and it is quite a long waiting list. It's about a year, but it's worth it. You don't go with them. Your child, you drop them off, and you pick them up when they're finished. My son absolutely loved it. It was independent away from me. He was with people in the same situation as himself. He made new friends, which is a beautiful thing about ADHD because they're so social, proper social butterflies they are. And he learned about ADHD, he learned about his own thoughts and feelings, he learned how to manage and cope himself. Now we can't wait to go back, because they go back again for like another review, like refresher course, so he's due to go again soon. And the best thing about the course was that he got this little certificate, which we all know, all kids, especially children with learning difficulties, thrive on compliments, okay, and praise. That's another thing. Try your best to compliment your child at least 20 times a day. And don't just compliment them just for being good, but compliment them and praise them just for being, okay? Because they are special. We are lucky to have them. It's not their fault. They struggle well more than what we do, believe me. So, just even if they're just sitting there and they've been quiet for 10 minutes watching TV, just a little, well done, you've been really good for that last 10 minutes. Very quiet, I'm very proud of you. And that would do, do you know what, they'd be so made up. But try that about 20 times a day. Right, so I'm going to finish off with this poem. Right, I'm going to try again. We'll be back for more. I'm going to try and post. I'd rather do loads of little ones rather than, you know, a couple of big long videos, because people do get fed up, you know. I'm fed up listening to myself sometimes. So what we're going to do is lots of little things, just like on individual things. So it might be keep people's attention a bit longer. But let's finish off with this poem that my sister sent me. I'm going to try my best not to sob, because it is a beautiful, beautiful poem. And I don't think anything could express a child's feelings who have ADHD better than this poem. So my sister sent me it. She cried, I cried. Every time I read it, I cry. So I didn't want to make a show of myself, so I'm going to try again. Okay, so ADHD. Take my hand and come with me. I want to teach you about ADHD. I need you to know, I want to explain. I have a very different brain. Sight, sounds and thoughts collide. What to do first, I can't decide. Please understand, I'm not to blame. I just can't process things the same. Take my hand and walk with me. Let me show you about ADHD. I try to behave, I want to be good, but I sometimes forget to do as I should. Walk with me and wear my shoes. You'll see it's not the way I'd choose. I do know what I'm supposed to do, but my brain is slow getting the message through. Take my hand and talk with me. I want to tell you about ADHD. I really think before I talk. I often run when I should walk. It's hard to get my schoolwork done. My thoughts are outside having fun. I never know just where to start. I think with my feelings and see with my heart. Take my hand and stand with me. I need you to know about ADHD. It's hard to explain, but I want you to know. I can't help letting my feelings show. Sometimes I'm angry, jealous or sad. I feel overwhelmed, frustrated and mad. I can't concentrate and I lose all my stuff. I try really hard, but it's never enough. Take my hand and learn with me. We need to know more about ADHD. I worry a lot about getting things wrong. Everything I do takes twice as long. Every day is exhausting for me, looking through the fog of ADHD. I'm often so misunderstood. I would change in a heartbeat if I could. Take my hand and listen to me. I want to share a secret about ADHD. I want you to know there is more to me. I'm not defined by it, you see. I'm sensitive, kind, and lots of fun. I'm blamed for things I haven't done. I'm the loyalest friend you'll ever know. I just need a chance to let it show. Take my hand and look at me. Just forget about the ADHD. I have real feelings just like you. The love in my heart is just as true. I may have a brain that can never rest, but please understand I'm trying my best. I want you to know, I need you to see. I'm more than the label. I am still me. Now I think that is so beautiful. And I've done really well getting through that, to be honest. But I hope you're enjoying the video so far. I know I've not done many. But I really think that if I can help anybody, and anybody who can help me, anyone got any tips that they've tried and they find that works, and please keep checking the videos, subscribe, comment, anything that you want to share with me, other people, all down below. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.